right now, millions of homeowners are unknowingly standing on what is basically a structural time bomb.
Yeah, that is honestly the best way to describe it.
Right. I mean, you look at your back door and it looks like this beautiful place to, put a barbecue or host a summer dinner.
Exactly. It looks totally fine.
But beneath the surface, these microscopic water droplets are actively destroying the bones of the house. And it's wild because we treat our outdoor spaces as if they're somehow immune to the laws of physics.
Oh, for sure. Just because they're outside.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just because they're outside. But today we are heading straight to a very specific architectural battleground to look at how buildings actually survive. We're talking about the outdoor decks in Port Moody, British Columbia.
And Port Moody really is, the ultimate forensic testing ground for this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when a region experiences the kind of long, intensely wet seasons that Port Moody gets, water damage ceases to be just like a cosmetic surface issue.
Right, it's not just peeling paint.
Exactly. It becomes this localized, slow-motion structural collapse. Water actively attacks a home from the outside in.
Which is terrifying.
It really is. It seeks out any microscopic weakness, utilizing gravity, wind, and even its own surface tension to just dismantle a building piece by piece.
So to understand how architecture fights back against that kind of assault, we are pulling from a really comprehensive, highly technical guide by Rain City Decks.
A great resource.
Yeah, really good stuff. And our mission for this deep dive is to explore how modern vinyl decking functions not just as a floor, but as a literal structural shield for your house.
Which is a huge distinction.
Massive. We're going to unpack the heavy-duty material science and the, intricate engineering that goes into creating a genuinely waterproof outdoor space.
And how it stops that damage before it even starts.
Exactly. How it intercepts that invisible, notoriously expensive water damage.
This really forces a complete shift in how we even categorize a deck, I think.
How do you mean?
Well, the traditional view is that a deck is just a platform, right? Just a wooden platform attached to the side of a house.
Sure.
But in a coastal, rain-heavy climate, that platform is actually a horizontal roof.
Oh, wow. I never really thought of it like that, a horizontal roof.
Yeah. It is a completely flat surface, taking the absolute brunt of the weather. And traditional materials simply were never engineered to handle that kind of constant, relentless moisture assault without massive ongoing intervention from the homeowner.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we've established that rain is public enemy number one for the structural integrity of an outdoor space. But I want to get into the actual physics of why traditional materials fail so spectacularly in this environment.
Right, the actual breakdown.
Yeah. We all know wood rots when it gets wet, but the guide points out that a place like Port Moody creates this brutal, endless cycle of expansion, contraction, and saturation. So what is actually happening to the material on, a microscopic level?
So wood isn't just a solid, impenetrable block. Structurally, it's basically a bundle of microscopic straws.
Okay, straws. Got it.
Right. And in a living tree, those straws pull water up from the roots. Well, in a milled piece of lumber, they still want to do the exact same thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so when it rains, those cellular straws literally suck up moisture through capillary action, and the wood swells up.
Right.
Then when the sun finally comes out, the water evaporates, and the wood aggressively contracts.
So it's essentially breathing in water and exhaling it over and over again.
Exactly. And that mechanical action, that constant swelling and shrinking, physically tears the cellular bonds apart over time.
Ouch.
Yeah. The lignin, which is the natural glue holding the wood fibers together, it just begins to break down. Fungi and bacteria enter those microscopic tears, and the wood begins to literally compost itself.
Compost itself. That is a gross but very accurate way to picture it.
It really is. It warps, it splinters, and eventually the structural integrity just vanishes.
Which means if you are relying on traditional exposed wood in a coastal downpour, it's not just about the aesthetic annoyance of your stain peeling off.
No, not at all.
You are constantly trying to fight off nature's attempt to decompose your house. It sounds like traditional wood in a rainstorm is like wearing a cotton sweater.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. Sure, it might look classic, but structurally it's going to soak right through and become dead weight immediately.
Precisely.
So it seems like the goal of vinyl decking is to cap those microscopic straws with an impenetrable layer, stopping the cycle entirely.
Yes, and what's fascinating here is the sheer elegance of the material science involved.
Okay, lay it on me.
Vinyl decking fundamentally changes the architectural approach by combining two entirely different building requirements into a single cohesive system,
Which are?
the walking surface and the waterproofing. The material itself is a specialized PVC polyvinyl chloride membrane.
Okay.
It provides a really durable, slip-resistant walking surface. But more importantly, it acts as a monolithic waterproof barrier.
Monolithic meaning like one solid, unbroken piece.
Exactly. It isn't a liquid coating or a paint that just sits on top and eventually flakes off,
Yeah.
It's an engineered, flexible shield installed over a highly prepared substructure. It completely halts moisture intrusion in its tracks.
Okay, I hear you on vinyl being this sophisticated two-in-one protective shield, but I have to push back here based on a massive marketing trend.
All right, let's hear it.
Wait a minute, I thought composite decking was the ultimate low-maintenance upgrade. Are you saying it doesn't actually protect the structure from water?
I am saying exactly that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a brilliant marketing success that has led to a major architectural misconception.
Really? Because everyone pushes composite.
Oh, everywhere. And look, composite decking, which is typically this blend of wood fibers and recycled plastics, is absolutely fantastic for surface durability.
Right, it doesn't rot.
Exactly. The board itself will not rot and you never have to stain it. But composite decking only functions as a walking surface.
Wait, really? Just the surface?
Just the surface. The boards are installed with mandatory gaps between them to allow for drainage and expansion.
Oh. So you're essentially building a premium walking surface over a porous sieve.
Yes.
Every drop of rain is just falling straight through the floorboard.
Every single drop. The water goes right through those gaps and lands directly onto the joists, the beams, and all the structural framing underneath.
That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen in a place like Port Moody.
It is. If you use composite decking over an area that needs to remain structurally dry, you are forced to install a completely separate, highly complex trough and gutter waterproofing system underneath those composite boards to catch and divert the water.
Oh, man. So you are essentially building two decks.
Exactly. One to walk on and a hidden roof underneath it to manage all the water.
That sounds incredibly expensive.
It is. And vinyl decking eliminates that entirely. It is the walking surface and the structural roof in one single layer. Yeah.
Wow. That distinction changes the entire calculus of building an outdoor space. You aren't just paying for the part your feet touch, you are investing in the protection of the entire underlying framework.
Precisely.
Because the sources get very specific about the cascading failure that happens when a system isn't truly waterproof. Let's trace the journey of a raindrop that actually manages to get past a failed surface. Because it doesn't just evaporate, right?
No, gravity takes over immediately.
Okay.
If water bypasses the surface, the first thing it hits is the substrate. This is usually a thick layer of plywood that serves as the foundation for the deck surface.
Right, the flat part underneath.
Yeah, and plywood is manufactured by gluing thin veneers of wood together. When water sits on plywood, it literally dissolves those glues.
Oh, no.
Yeah, causes the layers to delaminate and basically turn to mush.
And that's where you get those terrifying soft spots when you walk across an older deck.
That is exactly what that is.
The surface might look intact, but the ground literally sinks beneath your foot because the substrate has liquefied.
It's so sketchy. Soft spots are the ultimate red flag. By the time you actually feel the deck yield under your weight, the plywood is entirely compromised.
Yikes.
But the raindrop doesn't stop there. It continues down into the framing components, the heavy joists and load-bearing beams. It pools around the metal fasteners, the screws, the joist hangers.
And metal and water don't mix?
Nope. It accelerates rust and galvanic corrosion. The metal literally eats itself.
Which perfectly explains why loose railings are such a massive warning sign.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you grab a railing and it wobbles, it's not because the screws magically back themselves out over the winter.
Right.
It's because the wood that those screws were biting into has turned to dust due to hidden moisture damage.
Exactly. A loose railing is a localized structural failure disguised as a minor maintenance issue.
That's terrifying.
It is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
And if this is an elevated deck, say a balcony over a living room or a garage, that raindrop eventually finds its way into the interior insulation, the electrical wiring, and finally pools on the drywall ceiling below until the drywall collapses.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because understanding the sheer destructive power of that water brings us to the mechanics of how this vinyl shield is actually constructed.
Right, the insulation.
Because even if you have the most technologically advanced PVC membrane manufactured in some state-of-the-art facility, it is entirely useless if the seams where two rolls meet aren't perfectly sealed.
Wow, 100%.
And the guide details that modern vinyl membranes are heat-welded together.
Yes.
They aren't using glue, and they certainly aren't nailing it down. They are essentially melting the deck together.
That's exactly what they're doing. The physics of heat welding is what makes the system monolithic.
How does that actually work on site?
Well, contractors use these specialized hot air welders. They blast air at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit directly between the overlapping sheets of PVC.
1,000 degrees? That's insane.
Yeah. And this briefly liquefies the polymers on both surfaces. Then, a heavy roller is immediately pressed over the seam, forcing those liquid polymers to interlock.
Okay.
As it cools, which just takes a few seconds, those two separate sheets have molecularly bonded into a single continuous piece of plastic.
There's not even two pieces anymore.
Nope. There's no gap, there's no adhesive to degrade over time, and no overlapping lip for water to catch.
Okay, but this raises an important question then.
Sure.
We have this beautifully engineered, molecularly bonded, continuous sheet of armor. But a deck isn't just a flat, infinite plane.
Sure.
It meets the wall of the house. It has edges. It has stairs. If you have a perfectly waterproof surface, but you punch a hole right through it to bolt down a heavy wooden railing post, haven't you just defeated the entire purpose?
That is the big catch. You've highlighted the exact reason why waterproofing is a specialized trade and not a weekend DIY project.
Right. You can't just slap this stuff down.
Not at all. Every single penetration through that membrane is a potential funnel for hydraulic pressure. Water doesn't just passively fall. When it hits a surface, it flows, it pools, and it actively seeks out the path of least resistance.
It wants to get inside.
Always. So the true test of a contractor's skill is entirely in the edge details and the flashing.
Flashing, that's one of those architectural terms that gets thrown around a lot, but conceptually, it's brilliant. It's essentially a metal bridge designed to outsmart water, right?
Pretty much. It relies on breaking capillary action.
Right, the sticky water thing.
Exactly. Water has a sticky quality to it. Surface tension allows it to actually crawl upwards and underneath siding or door frames if left unchecked.
Which is sneaky.
Very sneaky. So flashing is a rigid piece of custom bent metal that slips up behind the waterproof barrier of the house's wall, comes down, and bridges over the deck membrane.
Oh, I see.
It forces the water to step away from the vulnerable transition point and directs it safely onto the vinyl surface where it can drain away.
So the entire methodology of a professional installation is basically a rigid, step-by-step war against standing water.
That is a great way to put it.
And the guide breaks down this installation methodology, and it starts long before anyone even looks at a roll of vinyl.
Oh yeah, the prep work is everything.
It begins with a forensic structural inspection. They aren't just measuring for square footage, they are hunting for existing rot, evaluating the attachment points, and critically, they are analyzing the slope.
Slope is the invisible engine of the entire system.
How so?
Well, a flat deck is a failed deck.
Period.
Period. If the pitch isn't perfectly calibrated, usually about a 1/4 inch of drop for every foot of run, the water ponding on the surface creates hydraulic pressure.
And water is heavy.
Exactly. Standing water is heavy, and it will forcefully push against every seam, every wall transition, and every drain until it finds a microscopic way in.
Okay, so once they've established the slope is mathematically sound, they move into substrate preparation. And reading the guide, this isn't just sweeping the plywood.
No.
They have to sand down joints, filling screw holes, and create a surface as smooth as glass.
They have to.
Yeah.
Because PVC is flexible.
Right. So any imperfection in that plywood, a raised screw head, a tiny splinter, will telegraph right through the membrane.
It telegraphs through and creates a high-friction wear point.
Ah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, every time someone walks over that raised bump, it slowly files away at the vinyl from underneath until it punctures.
That makes so much sense.
So that meticulous surface preparation is the foundation that allows the molecular bonding of the membrane to actually succeed. Once the surface is flawless, the heat welding begins, locking the entire floor into that monolithic shield.
And that leads directly into the obsessive edge work we just talked about, right? Wrapping the membrane precisely down into the drainage scuppers, sealing the stair treads, and integrating all that metal flashing where the deck meets the house.
That's step 4, yeah.
And then the final phase is a rigorous inspection of all those details, literally stress testing the seams and ensuring every drop of water exits exactly where it is supposed to.
Which is exactly why relying on a highly trained installer is paramount. I mean, the vinyl itself is manufactured to exact tolerances in a factory, but its performance in the real world is dictated 100% by the craftsmanship of the person wielding the hot air welder.
The human element.
Yes, a flawless premium membrane installed with sloppy, rushed flashing will rot a house just as fast as bare wood.
Wow. So what does this all mean for the homeowner? Now that we have this flawlessly installed, heat-welded, perfectly sloped deck, where does this specific type of engineering provide the absolute highest return on investment?
Good question.
Because the sources point specifically to multifamily condo buildings, rooftop patios, and elevated residential balconies. We are talking about any outdoor space located directly above a finished living area.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the conversation elevates from simple durability to massive risk mitigation. Consider the architecture of a modern strata building or a custom home with a deck built over a finished insulated garage.
Yeah, that's really common around here.
The floor of that deck is literally the ceiling of the room below.
Oh, man.
So if you use a permeable surface like wood or composite, you are inviting weather directly into the envelope of the building.
The anxiety of that would be paralyzing.
Right.
Every time a major coastal storm rolls through, you'd be staring at your living room ceiling, wondering if a slow, invisible drip is dissolving the drywall above your television.
It happens all the time.
But vinyl decking completely shifts that psychological dynamic. It acts as a walkable, high-traffic roof. You stop worrying about the rain and start actually enjoying the real estate.
And the ongoing relationship between the homeowner and the structure changes dramatically too.
The maintenance.
Exactly.
Right.
The maintenance required to keep this highly engineered system functioning is almost non-existent compared to traditional materials. You are trading weeks of sanding, chemically treating, and staining wood for, honestly, basic common sense housekeeping.
Yeah, looking at the maintenance guide, it is essentially sweep it, wash it, and don't abuse it.
That's really it.
Sweeping away leaves and organic debris prevents tannins from staining the surface. Washing it periodically keeps the microscopic pores of the texture clean. But the guide is very specific about how to wash it.
Yes, very important.
No industrial pressure washing, right?
Please, no pressure washing. A high-intensity pressure washer can physically damage the texture and prematurely degrade the plasticizers.
Plasticizers?
Yeah, the chemical compounds that keep the PVC flexible and prevent it from cracking.
Oh, gotcha. So blasting it is bad.
Very bad. Mild soap, warm water, and a medium stiff bristle brush are literally all you need to lift the dirt.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. And the other critical maintenance task is simply keeping the drainage pathways clear. A single clump of wet leaves blocking a drain can back up hundreds of gallons of water.
Which reintroduces that dangerous hydraulic pressure to the system that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. It's all about letting gravity do the work it was designed to do.
And of course, there's the physical protection of the membrane itself. You don't want to drag a sharp wrought iron table leg or a super heavy barbecue across your waterproof shield.
Definitely not. Just put some protective CADs on your heavy furniture, keep the drains clear, and give it a gentle scrub a couple times a year. If you do that, the lifespan of the system is remarkable.
It is a profound return on a tiny investment of time.
Oh, completely. By performing that basic visual inspection and cleaning, you are actively extending the life of the entire substructure.
Right.
You are preserving the plywood, the heavy joists, the steel fasteners, and the structural integrity of the walls below. You are proactively preventing the hidden rot that leads to those terrifying catastrophic failures we talked about.
It's basically preventative health care for the structural skeleton of your house.
I love that. Preventative health care.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the main takeaway from unpacking the science of Rain City decks is incredibly clear.
Yeah, I think so.
Choosing a vinyl membrane isn't just an aesthetic decision or a lazy way to avoid staining boards on a summer weekend.
Right.
In wet, relentless coastal climates like Port Moody, It is a vital, non-negotiable piece of waterproof engineering.
Absolutely vital.
It replaces a porous, failing surface with a single molecularly bonded shield that intercepts water before it can ever touch the bones of the building.
It really forces a deeper appreciation for the building sciences.
It really does.
But, that protective shield relies on active awareness from the homeowner. I highly encourage you, the listener, to go out and conduct your own forensic inspection of your outdoor spaces.
Walk the deck.
Walk the entire surface slowly.
Yeah.
Do you feel any subtle deflection or soft spots under your heel?
Grab the railing posts.
Yes. Grab the railing posts and give them a firm shake. Is the connection absolutely rigid, or does the base move even a fraction of an inch?
Which means the wood underneath is gone.
Exactly. And the next time a heavy rain falls, step outside and watch the water. Observe its path. Does it flow smoothly toward the drains, or does it hesitate and pool in the corners?
Because catching those minor symptoms early is the difference between a simple flashing repair and having to tear off the entire deck to replace rotting joists.
It's a huge financial difference.
It's been an absolutely fascinating look at the heavy engineering hiding in plain sight just outside our back doors. We often think of our outdoor living spaces as being in an entirely separate zone from our homes, subject to completely different rules.
But they're not.
No, they're really not. When a simple balcony sits directly over your newly renovated living room, the line between the unpredictable wet outside and your safe, dry inside is literally just a few millimeters of heat-welded vinyl.
Just a few millimeters.
It makes you wonder, how much invisible engineering, molecular bonding, and carefully calculated physics are you standing on the next time you enjoy a cup of coffee on a rainy coastal patio?